I created 2 new works based on Ruichi's last album, 12. And as you know, I was very close to Ruichi the last years. We've been working very close together. And not only recording together, as well we performed together. And during our long tours, we always had ideas for the future, like maybe one day that we are working together on a movie, or that we're working maybe in this period as well. I started making these short films who are not so strongly related to my digital visualization when I'm performing or my music. They are really more like really films with real images from reality, not artificially created. So in this period when we've been together, I always developed this idea of maybe a future project for film, and asked Ruichi as well if we could work together as well for this project in the future. And they said, yeah, of course, we do something together. And I've been already 1 or 2 smaller films where Ruichi was collaborating with me for the film music. So when Ruichi died, Norika, who is very close to Ruichi, of course, and as well taking care of all the archives and all the remains and the recordings and installations and everything, the estate in a way. So asked me if I could do a film for the 12 album, and I said yes, I would like to do maybe 2 tracks from this album. And I was listening again to this album under a different kind of perspective, in a way that I was thinking, yeah, which of these tracks would fit to this idea of the future film, what we talked always in the past. And I choose 2 tracks. One, what is actually the first track of the album. As we know, these tracks have just numbers as titles, what is more or less the date when it was recorded. And I this first track I choose was actually a very classic synthesizer Prophet sound, very Ruichi, very dreamy, very amorphic, very like traveling. And for this track I developed a visual idea what maybe we all know, this kind of situation when you're closing your eyes, maybe in the night, in a really dark night, before you sleep maybe or so. We start seeing this kind of really amorphic figures. And these amorphic figures have a name, they're called phosphines. It's a kind of scientific name. So the title of this work is Phosphines, same as the phenomens, and they're trying to capture a phenomenon what we're seeing but is not existing. So it's kind of as well real, not real, dream, not dream. So it's a kind of status, what I think specifically when you're creating as an artist or when you're doing music, and I think I would say as well, Ruichi was always very interested in this status. Not talking about only the reality, as well talking about what is happening in how we imagine reality, or the dreams, or this kind of in-between being awake, not being dreaming or sleeping. Yeah? And this kind of status has as well a long tradition. There are many artists who try to capture. I mean, there is even paintings from Edvard Munch, like we know, is like 100 years almost away, where he tried to paint these figures. So I thought this has a very long tradition for artists as an interest, this kind of phenomena. And B, I felt very connected to the work of Ricci with this visual idea for the track. So this is one film I started actually first with. And the second idea is a little bit more real. It's more, well, actually very real. I called endo-exo. This endo-exo describes basically an inside and an outside. So you can use this as for multiple terms, but in this case you could say there's an endoskeleton and there's an exoskeleton. There is an inner skeleton and an outside skeleton. So as we know, some animals have the skeleton outside, or some life forms, let's say. We have our skeleton inside. So, but as well, there is a question as well with this displays of skeletons, or of in this case like preparated animals who have no life anymore, but they look alive, but they are not alive. With the skeletons, it's a little bit more easy because the remains is clear that it's not life anymore. So the movie starts a little bit with this exo goes into the endo in the inner parts, and the bone remains, of course, have a connection to the death, because I know as well that in the Japanese culture how a life is ending, and the ceremonies for that people it's very connected to the bones as well. I think every culture is a little bit different dealing with this kind of deep topic. But I thought for myself it's a very good topic to touch this, because I was very much suffering from when Ricci died. And maybe a part how I could start dealing again with losing Ricci as in the physical presence, I would say, was maybe working on this film. So for me, it was a kind of almost like a therapy to yeah, it's really difficult to describe, but maybe to overcome my sorrow. Ricci and me much better like to be creative. So moving out of a hall into a wider perspective and move on. And I think this movie doesn't tell all this, and nobody can see. But I think the reason I did this movie is, of course, super personal, related to Ricci. It's not just a conceptual movie about skeletons or stuffed animals and life and death. It's more a personal story between me and him. And I know, of course, that Ricci was always very much interested in environmental questions, in ecological questions, and of course to build museums where you display dead animals is raising a lot of questions in a way. Yeah, what's the purpose actually? Is there a scientific purpose? Yes, if yes, why are we building museums for that? Could be useful then as a laboratory, as an archive, as a vault. But what is the fascination of looking at a skeleton. Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, many layers. Not necessarily, I'm not really say one layer is more important than the other, but there are many layers in this work. Yeah. I worked with Ruchi for a very long time on several occasions and projects. So in total we more or less recorded 9 albums. 8 of them are released. We had the first series was the Virus series. This was already 5 albums. Then we started collaborating on more improvised, site-specific works like the Glass House performance. And actually we had a lot of ideas what else we want to do in the future. So there's been a lot of ideas, like dreams and ideas and what we can do. And even I think a week before he died, we still kept making plans for future projects, or yeah. But in a way, I mean, it was already a very difficult situation with the knowledge that Richie will not recover what he. I mean, it was a very incredible move of him to make this public as well. I mean, he was sharing this news with everybody, that that he goes on a path where there is no return. So the first announcement that he has cancer was still connected with a lot of hope that this will be treated very well, but the second announcement was then already almost 2 years later, was already going on a path where. So, but if I remember, or let's say for me it's a little bit difficult to talk about Richie as something already is past. In a way, Richie is still for me very present. So, I mean, it's kind of overwhelming present in the moment with these big exhibitions, with many concerts, movies. I mean, Richie is still very much around. But this, I'm not talking about this. I talk as well about even if we not been together in one place and talking to each other, we always felt a connection, and this connection is now never changed. It's still there. So when you're asking me about what I like most of Richie, or what is maybe what I would love to carry on, I think it's a very simple thing. What I really like, it's a feature what is very almost like a child. It's curiosity. He was an incredible curious person, very open, and very multi-directional interests, never really only interested in one topic. I like this. I mean, this is really, I mean, how we connect this. But to keep this curiosity and this little shining in the eyes if something new comes or something exciting, he never lost until, I mean, had always this curiosity. He was always interested in finding new things, new exciting movements, new exciting artists, new exciting theories or inventions. He was very open and very curious. He was never a closed, isolated person. I think he was a very open person. And this is, I really appreciate. I really love this. And this is maybe something what I carry with. I see this as a legacy for me, myself, what I should carry on as well, in order as well to cope with missing the physical presence of him that I would love to keep this curiosity for myself as well. Yeah. I don't see this necessarily as a collection of art pieces being displayed in a museum. I see this completely different. I see this actually, most of the people who are showing in the exhibition are friends of mine and friends of Ruchi, and we have a connection to each other because we know each other, and we know us not just yesterday or because of this exhibition. We know, I mean, just to make one example, on this night I met Ruchi the very first time. There was Shiro, Yoko, Fujiko, and Ruchi. This was, and Ryoji, who is not present here in the exhibition, but we all been in the same room and talking to each other without knowing what we exactly doing or what exactly we all. So, but we've been together on the very first day I came to Japan, and this is now more than 25 years ago. And so this connection of seeing again Yoko or Shiro or Fujiko, it was from the beginning. So this is, and this makes me very happy as well that we all together, back together in this kind of exhibition. So I wouldn't really make one art piece for me sticking out. I mean, the connection is clear. We all collaborated with Ruchi, and the Ruchi is the glue of that exhibition. That's the reason many of the artists are here meeting. But the friendship and the collective we forming, it's not that we're working all the time together. We're kind of friends, let's say. That this is still existing and coming back. That's the real beauty in a way. I love this. Yeah, it's nice.